And ooh, I'm live. And what you see before you is one of Journeyman's earliest illustrations. I still think it looks pretty great, but obviously his style has changed a lot. What's interesting is a couple of things. One is that he's always liked masks, and you can see it from this character. And two, this character is named Journeyman. um, yeah. Now, pardon the watermarks that say Journeyman. That's because I took this image from his web store where this is available as a print. And so Journeyman conceived of this character years ago. This wanderer sort of has like a robotic aspect to him. Is he a robot? He kind of looks a little something like the Tin Man to me. And so he would wander from place to place and observe humanity. And you can tell that he collects masks. And in observing humanity, he was never seen as anything but human. That wasn't an illusion or anything like that. It was just part of the story, and so Journey and I have always liked this character, but we didn't know how to write for him. The way that Journey conceived of him, he was passive. He would go places and see things. He was sort of like a melancholy but cute robotic version of the Watcher. If the Watcher watched people play cards and stab each other. I think that was one of his earliest stories. Yeah. So he collects masks, and why does he collect masks? And there's all these questions. Journey had concepts and ideas for this guy, but but concepts and ideas are sometimes hard to turn into a story, especially when the character is passive. And this isn't a knock on Journey. His goal as an artist, especially back then, was to create an interesting image, an evocative image. And this is actually one of my favorite pieces of his. So he knocked this out of the park. Now taking that image and turning it into a story, that's a little more difficult. So what does this Journeyman character, from decades ago, have to do with the Book of Masks? I've this character fascinated me too, and I wanted to tell a story about this character. And one of the things at the heart, and I keep saying this character because if I say Journeyman a lot, you'll mistake. I'll mistake. I'll mistake him for the artist. So I'll keep saying this character for now. This character has a certain mystery at the heart of it. And one of my, some of my favorite characters from science fiction and fantasy are characters like Pinocchio, Data, Frankenstein's monster. These are characters who are, Galatea is another great one. These are characters who are artificial people. you know, people created by artifice. And so they're always missing something. Sometimes they're monstrous and violent, like Frankenstein's monster, though even he is sympathetic, abandoned by his father. We see something similar with Data, except he's not monstrous. In fact, the opposite is true. And of course, Pinocchio's a little boy, you know, in a puppet form. And he gets into all sorts of trouble. So I thought the Book of Mass would be interesting if it were the journal of this character, of this character called Journeyman. You know, and so I've come up with a possible origin for Journeyman, but I'm going to hold off on telling you all about it because I want, you know, the actual Journeymans. I want the artists' feedback on it first. But he is going to be doing a lot of the stuff that he did in the original conception of the story. He is going to be doing a lot of wandering and a lot of observing. And he's going to be doing it in service of learning more about Mass, of collecting Mass, you know, and so that's how I'm going to tie the something from the earliest part of the artist's work to this current project. And what excites me as a writer is that this character doesn't know a lot about humanity, doesn't know what it is to be human, you know, and so that adds to the unreliability of the narrative. And I mentioned in the previous broadcast that I like unreliable narrators. When I'm reading a story, I love thinking, you know, can I trust the person telling me this story, you know, and just to give you an example of how exciting that can be, there's an author named Roger Zelazny, and Zelazny wrote a series of books about this family of powerful immortals, and in the first 5 books, the main character is the narrator, and like the rest of his family, he's untrustworthy. He's he's cunning. He's manipulative. Now, but as you're reading his adventures, you think to yourself, you kind of get seduced by him. You think to yourself, well, he's telling me, you know, he might have his own point of view, but the stuff that's happening to him is what's happening to him. Except that we learn at the end of the story, of the 5th book, which ends the first major story, we learn that he's not a narrator for us. He's not telling us the story. He's telling the story to his son, a son that he's never met before, a son that he's trying to get on his side. And so, as a reader, your mind is blown. You're like, did all the adventures that he chronicled in those first 5 books happen exactly as he told them? Or has he been editing these adventures as he tells them to his son in order to make himself look better? You know, and which ones are which? You know, we don't know. And I find that I find that ambiguity to be to be a joy. And that's what I want to share with you with the Book of Mass. I want you to read it and to not be sure that this artificial human is getting things right. And by the way, he's going to have his own motives. He's going to have things he wants. Guess what? Like the Mass. So, is he going to present everything accurately? And what this will do for you as a gaming product is that if you're a player, you could read this and enjoy it, and it won't spoil anything for you if your game master were to use it, because your game master almost certainly has the responsibility to change it, to decide, what's truth, what's fiction, and what's outright falsehood. And again, from the game master's point of view, one of my joys as a game master is making stuff up. So I like being inspired, by other writers. And sometimes I'll take something they've done exactly as it is and put it in my games. But usually I like to put my twist on it, and that twist, well, here I am with this narrator. I'm inviting you to put your twist on it. You're not doing it against the author's wishes. You're doing it with the author's blessing. Take my work and twist it. So that's about it. I'll see you all later. Bye.